Hi, everyone, and welcome back to a new episode of Champions of Performance Marketing. I'm Jairet Crum, your host, and today we have here with us someone who has a vast experience in the world of direct response and digital media buying. Joining me is Jairet Crum. He is a performance marketing expert who helped brands scale to 8 and 9 figures in revenue, and is currently leading the partnerships at Tried and True Media, where he oversees large-scale campaigns across different channels. What's very interesting is that Jairet also has a deep understanding on what makes a funnel convert, meaning from VSLs, copywriting, ad creatives. He has this deep understanding, and I'm super excited to have him here and see what he knows and find out. Especially, I'm excited to find out how they scale YouTube ads, how they stack up against the Meta, and I don't know what media buyers should pay attention to. So, Jairet, welcome to the show. Thank you for joining me today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's great to be here. I'm excited to share with your audience a little bit about my experience and how that applies to affiliates and YouTube marketing, YouTube advertising specifically.
Yeah, I'm super excited to hear you out. So let's start with your experience and what you're doing at Try and True Media. How did you start in performance marketing? What you're doing now? What's Try and True Media doing?
Well, I was doing like general digital marketing back in the 2000 and teens. And I think around 2018, I decided that I was going to be just a direct response freelance copywriter. And I was just going to do that. Within a year, one of my clients was an agency and I was doing ads and they were returning to me for work. And so I signed on with them with a full-time contract. And that was Tried and True Media. At the time, I was the second copywriter. And so you can really say that my start in performance marketing was really through copywriting. And then from that, I was like very, systematic in the way I approach things. And so I started kind of just like building the system for how to approach like writing ads and, the kind of repetitive parts of it. And my boss noticed that. So I kind of went into building a department. And from there, I started kind of doing the higher level stuff of kind of looking at the funnels because I was working more in partnership with like managers. And I started kind of analyzing funnels and not just like analyzing ads and looking all the stuff that you can optimize in terms of like iterations on ad tests. And so from there, I became a performance manager and leading my own pod or like a portfolio of clients. And yeah, now I just manage the relationships and develop new business for Tried and True Media. So yeah, the high level thing there is I do have the experience in copywriting, the background in ads, optimizing ads, conversion focused ads. And then on the performance management side, when I was doing that, we were, I wasn't hands on keyboard, like managing the ad platforms, but I was definitely like working day to day with the media buyer to understand our ad campaigns, our targeting, all of these things. So I was kind of working in tandem with him to guide the test there. And like, are we testing the right devices and testing the right operating systems and testing the right ages and genders and all these things to kind of do those more like granular tests. But yeah, the agency in general, to touch on that really quickly, is a performance marketing agency where, we do performance creative and run media. And then when we work with a client, we also offer CRO services. So we're helping you optimize your funnel because we get paid on percent of ad spend. We're not affiliates, so we don't work on a CPA basis. And so we're helping our partners optimize their funnel so that we can help them make more money because being on percent of ad spend, it helps us make more money too. So we go really deep with the brands that work with us instead of just, running traffic and creating ads.
Oh, that's a vast experience. I can say
Yeah,
that.
yeah. It's a lot to unpack there. Yeah. One more thing that I'll say is like my biggest, I think, claim to fame is where I helped a brand grow to running multiple six figures in ad spend a day. And we capped out around 500,000 in ad spend a day at our peak. And we were running at like a 1.8 ROAS. So I like to say, I did nearly $1 million in revenue for one of my clients on one product, on one funnel in one day.
Wow. What kind of type of product, if you can say that?
It was a supplement. Yeah, it was a digestion
Supplement.
supplement. That's all I can say.
So you are saying you're not running affiliate offer, but you are working with ClickBank. How is that?
So that's where it's like, I'm glad you asked that question because a lot of people look at us like affiliates because we work with the same people that affiliates would work with. So we work with ClickBank. We have good partnership with ClickBank and we will work with vendors that have offers on ClickBank. and we
So
run
they are
their
the
offers
brands that you
through
promote.
ClickBank. Yeah, say that one more time.
They are the brands that you promote, the vendors that are on
Exactly.
ClickBank.
Yeah, exactly. So we run similar to what an affiliate would do. So let's say like on the affiliate side, there's an offer on ClickBank, whether an affiliate manager is trying to get the affiliate to run it for them, or, it's just a new affiliate who's getting into the platform and just grabbing it themselves to go run ads. Like they're going to run media, they're going to put up ad spend, and they're going to create the ads, and they're going to do all that themselves. On our
Yes.
side, we work in tandem with the vendor, and we have, exclusivity on the funnel that we run for them. And then, yeah, we
And you're not
develop.
paid on CPA.
Yeah, and we're not paid on CPA. So yeah, that's I think the bigger thing is, I guess, the most important difference. Affiliates will all get paid on CPA or maybe rev share, depending on what the situation
Yeah,
is, and then
depending
we
of
charge on percentage of ad spend. So yeah, we model out like how that actually keeps money in the business, and that's usually why vendors want to give us a shot. Is that we can actually keep more money in the business by charging on percent of ad spend instead of CPA, and that allows us to put more money back into ad spend, which means more scale and more customers. So
Yeah,
yeah,
so you're
that's
like their
that's really it.
private media buying agency.
Yeah. And because we work more on that side of, offer optimization and analyzing your VSL, giving you a copy review, looking at all your landing pages, things like that, it's more of a partnership than, the affiliate. They get their funnel, and, I don't want to make blanket statements here and say that all affiliates are like this, but in general, they're going to run traffic on that funnel that you have. And if it works, it works. And if it doesn't, then they abandon you. And we're going to work alongside you to make things work so that you can reach the highest level of scale possible.
Yeah, so you are more for partner to the vendors on the
Yeah.
ClickBank. Okay.
Yep. Yep.
And so, but you promote the same offers that affiliates promote, so mostly, yeah, because your partners are listed on ClickBank, right?
Yeah. So if they work with us, we have an exclusive on whatever platform we're running. So if like we're running on Meta, then they're going to pull that from affiliates on Meta, and so we won't compete with affiliates. But if
But that's good.
we'll work with the same vendors. So that
Mhm.
that vendor might have the offer available on YouTube, and then we run it on Meta, and then yeah, that's usually how it goes. Something like that.
Okay, and you touched about YouTube, and that's what I want to find out. So a lot of
Yeah.
affiliates are like, I don't know, very successful on Meta and or
Yeah.
crushing it on Meta, but they are afraid to start on YouTube and touch
Yeah.
YouTube. I don't know. You do think YouTube is viable for affiliate offers for this kind of offers that
It
affiliates and you guys promote?
Yeah, so it's a really good topic, because if you're an affiliate who runs long form post text copy and images, you're going to struggle. But
Okay.
if you're affiliate, excuse me, struggle when you go to YouTube. But if you're
Yeah,
an
and
affiliate who already runs video ads and already has, I mean, I think there's a couple of guys right now that are crushing it with TikTok ads. I
okay.
think that they would have an easier time adjusting to YouTube. It would be scary because like the budgets are way higher. Depending, the CPAs, I mean, are way higher, so your budgets have to be higher. Not that the TikTok guys aren't running big budgets on TikTok, but just that, like, it's a really big CPA. Probably, I would assume even 2 to maybe 3 or maybe max like X of what the CPAs are on TikTok, just depending on the product. But yeah, because it's video based, like I say that if you really understand like the principles of direct response, and that means like mechanism driven education and like the entertainment aspect of ads, video ads, I think you can crush it on YouTube. And so a lot of these younger people who are like video platform native, they grew up on, like, I know some of the younger affiliate guys that do really sick video ads. I think they could crush on YouTube because they understand video like natively. And if they can just like, inject that with direct response style copy. It's, really educational, mechanism driven. Like that's the kind of stuff people want to consume on YouTube. So I tell people all the time, think about the context of the platform. Like you're on Facebook to mindlessly scroll and you see something that's interesting and then you'll stick there. Like people are on YouTube to consume information, to learn things, oftentimes to be entertained. And if they're learning things, it's also a bit of entertainment, right? It's edutainment. And so I think there's a really strong fit for direct response ads that have this educational value, or there's like, I say educational, but like you're piquing interest and then telling about a discovery, that kind of stuff that is really fitting to YouTube. So, because people want to consume that kind of, they want to learn something new, they want to be entertained. And that's what those our best ads on that platform do. So yeah, I think YouTube's a great platform for affiliate marketers, but yeah, people will suffer if they're used to writing like long form text, which is meant to be read, and then they just pair that with an image. Like that's not going to fly on YouTube.
Okay, let's just make sure that everybody is clear. What's a
Yeah.
direct response ad? If you can clarify that.
Yeah. So, I mean, direct response principles kind of in the, you're driving an action immediately. In this case, like we're making a lot of open loops in ads because they're VSL ads, right? So you're not giving away what the product is. So you're not driving the direct immediate action of purchasing. You're driving the direct immediate action of going to learn this important thing from a presentation. So that's the kind of educational aspect of the ad is like you pique someone's interest with, hey, people who have this problem like won't realize, well, like won't believe this thing I discovered, and you kind of open these loops about like big discoveries or incredible results, and you pique their interest, and kind of again that's kind of my opinion of the the entertaining part of it is those
Okay.
things feel entertaining, but they're also learning something. It's piquing their interest, and then they want to click to go watch the VSL, and you've given them
It's
so
not
much
that
like
stealthy. I mean, selling it
yeah,
is
it's
a
not
little bit.
salesy. It just still it drives an action. Salesy is like, direct response. I think we think about infomercials, right? If you've never watched like TV infomercials, like that's a great lesson in immediate like sales direct response
Okay.
because it just drives the action to buy right now, and it leans so hard into the problem. It twists a knife on a specific problem very well. So this, you want to like twist the knife on the problem, but you want to set up that the information that's in this presentation, your VSL, is really what's going to unlock the results that you want.
It's like setting up the scene and then
Hmm.
taking the visitor to the where you want to to
Yeah,
buy, I
yeah,
guess.
absolutely. Perfect.
And what
Nice
kind of
summary.
offers do you see are like performing well
Scaling on
now?
YouTube?
Yeah, what converts and what doesn't? What should somebody start with?
Yeah, so we see quizzes scaling, VSL scaling, ecom can even scale. I've seen good direct response ecom offers. I think like, gosh, a while ago there was like a water pressure nozzle that you put on your hose, or it was like something bizarre like that, but they just did such a good job of like setting up a problem. It like really reminded me of old infomercials. Supplements do great. Yeah, again, I said ecom like gadgets can do good, like BizOp even does good, and finance does good. I mean, like, I guess what I'm saying here is if it's a good offer with a good VSL, like it can work. It's not about like, hey, these offers are going to work there and these other ones aren't. Like supplements do great, but there's also supplement offers that don't work there. I hate to admit it, but like I've definitely worked with clients where like I couldn't make it work. I had one vendor that was a ClickBank vendor that I worked with him probably for about 6 months, and we tested two different offers, and we would be like break even, a little bit positive, a little bit negative, break even, a little bit positive, going through that cycle and just never really making it work. And we had to just say, man, this isn't going anywhere. We're not getting enough results. And I was using the same playbook that I used to drive that other brand that I mentioned to 6 figures a day, multiple 6 figures a day in ad spend,
Wow.
at 1.8 and sometimes X ROAS. And so it really is about, the quality of your offer, the quality of your VSL, the quality of what I think now is like, you got to have higher production VSL. You got to have a spokesperson. I think, no shade to people who aren't doing that yet, but like, that's where the market's going. I feel like the
So
market
no,
is
no
sophisticated.
actors, or how do you find that?
Well, I mean, you can use an actor spokesperson, but I think if you're still doing voiceover VSLs, like you're going to get left behind. That's my take. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you have to be making some pretty outrageous, like big claims to get a voiceover only VSL to convert these days because people just expect higher quality production. I mean, think about it. Like your average YouTube creator films with like 3 cameras and everything's in 4K, Ultra HD, and stuff like this. And you think you can still use like recycled, outdated stock footage with a voiceover from like 11 Labs or something like that. It's just not going to fly. It might work in the ad, but it's not going to work on the VSL, not for long.
And if they use like AI to do that? to do the videos, to do the VSLs?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I was actually talking to an offer owner this morning who just started using AI tools to generate some of the B-roll so that they have unique B-roll in their VSL. And I told him like, man, this is a big upgrade. Like it looks a lot better. So it's definitely a tool that people need to start leveraging.
Just to recap, if they find an offer that is working on Meta or on TikTok, they should scale it on YouTube, but not to pay attention to the copy if they come from Meta and from TikTok. Just do what they do with the video to like make
Yeah,
them attractive.
I would say like look for videos in that niche. Like I know affiliates are constantly swiping, definitely don't steal. This is my warning, don't steal.
Yeah, just
But yeah, like if you're out there, yeah, get inspired, go out there, like see what the mechanisms are, the pain points, et cetera, for some of the ads that are within that same niche. Even if they're old ads, like those still show up on spy tools. So you can go check out ads in that niche. I think another thing that I like to do is to look at native banners, spy on native banners to get ideas as well of like what's getting clicks. And that's where I would start with like making video ads.
what traffic sources are you using? I know we talk about the YouTube ads, but what traffic sources do you promote mostly?
It's mostly Meta and YouTube for sure. Those are definitely the biggest volume, but we also do AppLovin and TikTok, Rumble.
And when you set up a campaign on YouTube, just to
Mm.
come back to that, just can you walk me through, I don't know, how do you structure the campaign? I don't know how, if you launch multiple campaigns for the same offer or something.
Yeah, so I mean, now it has to be demand gen. So I know when I was like a little bit more involved, it was back when it was like video action campaigns, but now it's all demand gen. And so, just trying to limit those demand gen campaigns to just YouTube only and, shorts only if that's, what you're into. But yeah, typically on YouTube, we would start with a CPA that so we'll go with like a ROAS goal, right? We'll have like an idea of tentatively like what AOV is best based on like email sends that they had or other traffic that they had. So we kind of know where things should be, what ROAS we want, what AOV would be. And so what we do is we actually start on target CPA, but we put that at like 20 to 30% above what we expect it to be because YouTube overspends. Like, excuse me, YouTube needs more latitude to spend. So if just an easy example to clarify what I'm saying is that if I want a $100 CPA, I'm going to put up to like $130 as my target CPA just so that YouTube will spend. Because if I put $100 CPA, it might not even spend.
Okay.
So yeah, we'll put that a little bit higher to start to get some conversion data, and then we'll adjust based on what happens. So if we start getting an $80 CPA, like we know we can bring that down because we're already achieving our CPA. And then if
Yes.
it's not spending, then we need to increase that further so that we can get it to spend and then identify like where the real CPA is going to land. And then the total budget is usually about 5x CPA to give it room to
I
spend and learn. So you want to do like again, and I would say that's on that assumed CPA. So again, going back to that example of like, okay, we want to run at 100, we're going to put a TCPA of 130, but our budget's going to be 500.
Okay.
Yeah. And then
The
we would put at
5x.
least, yeah, I would put about 3 creatives in one ad group. I have people that swear that you don't want more than one ad group in a campaign, and other people who are going to put multiple ad groups in one campaign. I remember I used to always run like just at the campaign level. I wanted to see like what because it didn't make a difference to me. I would just run it as a campaign instead of doing multiple ad groups within one. I would run like different angles and different concepts by campaign. And so I would always just put one and then I would just put 3 videos in that one. So yeah, I'm not sure if we're like, go ahead.
3 videos in one ad group. So you are using just one ad group. Okay.
Yeah, and then broad targeting, like let the creative do the work and like see what happens because you don't want to go too narrow in the beginning. Like that's the kind of stuff I know I mentioned that earlier, but like that's the kind of stuff you do down the line. After you're already getting conversions, you can test on whether or not you convert a certain segment better. But, if you're running supplements, like you want to do 35 or 45 plus, maybe even 55 plus, depending on the niche, like vision or memory. But yeah, give it as much breadth as possible. And so go broad targeting and let the creative kind of call people out.
And when do you reduce the targeting? When do you see that you want to? So you go broad at the beginning.
Uh-huh.
When do you stop the broad and you niche down? I mean,
We would never stop broad. We would never
oh, okay.
stop
So you
broad, but
always go broad.
we would just add in, yeah, we would like add in a secondary campaign to see if we can get more incremental spend on whatever that best performer is. So let's say we do an analysis on broad and it says, oh, your best buyers are women 45 plus that are on iOS. Like that's typically always the one, right? And so it's like, okay, whatever percentage of budget those I mean it's fact, right? We're laughing because it's true.
Yeah, exactly.
And so, you're going to make a secondary campaign that is just women 45 plus and on iOS. And you're going to see if you can just get spend to that audience so that you can get even more conversions on just that segment, but you still let your broad campaign go because that's where it's going after everybody else. And then, yeah,
So
react
you will
from
get
there.
two campaigns at some point. Once you see you go broad, and then you get the second campaign with a niche.
Yeah. So I would do that with winners. So let's say yeah. So I'm doing those big broad campaigns with like every concept, doing at least 3 videos. If I've got more than 3 videos, then I'm breaking it out by some other criteria. So let's say I have 1 concept, but 3 videos are hook test and 3 videos are visual test. And so it's like concept 1 hooks, concept 1 visuals, and that there's 2 campaigns. And then, next week or, in a couple days or whatever it is, let's just say concept 2 and then concept 3 and then concept 4. And so I might have 10 campaigns. And so anything that's working from the whole, I'm doing this like account level audit, if you will, or analysis. I'm seeing, 45, women 45 plus on iOS. I'm going to go ahead and take all of the winners from that kind of like CBO style, what people do for scaling on Meta, and just put those into the another campaign, but with that same structure. So I'm not carrying. I would just call it a scaling campaign for an audience test. And then I would just put those winners and like maximum of 3 again, and just put those in the campaigns until I don't have any more. So let's say I have 5, I would do 3 in one, 2 in another, and they're like scaling like audience campaigns, and just see if I can get more conversions out of that audience without waiting for those big broad campaigns.
Okay, so there will be like a main broad campaign, and from that you extract the winners and create niche campaigns, I would say, right?
Yep. Yep.
Okay, that's good. And you mentioned that the budget is like fixed usually, right?
Yeah. I mean, like,
Like CPA.
so Meta's typically lower. Like I think with Meta you can get away with being lower, but like I said, yeah, like what I see with Google and a lot of people see with Google is that like it needs more room to spend, and so we usually have to do a higher CPA or target CPA, and then we have to do a higher starting budget just to get it to spend. So I think that's another thing that steers people away from Google or YouTube specifically, is that it's just can be more expensive to start.
And how important is tracking to for your YouTube campaign? Mainly, I don't know, what specific metrics tell you that YouTube campaign is ready to scale, for example?
Yeah, so we use like an interesting formula that we call allowable CPC. And so that's really just average order value times your conversion rate divided by your target ROAS.
Okay.
And that will tell you how much you can afford based on your metrics of those specific things, like how much you can afford to pay for a click. And so if, for example, you're paying $1.20, but your allowable CPC is $1, you're essentially losing money on every click you get. But if your allowable CPC is $1.50, you've got a gap there of 30 cents. That tells us that we can scale up because we know that you've got a lot of room. But if it's $1.25 and you are paying $1.20 already, you don't have much room to scale. You can a little bit, but
Really
incrementally
little.
until you reach that ceiling. And so that's one thing that we look at as like a proxy for like if there's really room to scale. But, of course, like ROAS is the first one is where we're checking that of like if we're on target, and there's, if you're getting 200% and the client wants 150, like you've got a lot of room to scale. And so we usually do that allowable CPC analysis either in audits or like when we're further down the line getting closer to like our overall goal. We'll look at like a look back window of like 30 days and kind of compare that of like, hey, where's our target ROAS landing versus real ROAS? And also like, where's our real CPA versus our allowable, CPC versus our allowable CPC.
Okay, good. So
Yeah, but
allowable.
tracking's super important. Like the one thing I want to mention about about YouTube tracking, and this is kind of crazy if like your audience wants it or if you think it'll be valuable. I know it's like more e-commerce, but House is a big incrementality company and they did a YouTube study that was about I think 5 weeks. It was like 20 something brands or I don't know. Anyway, it was a really big study that they did. And what they found about YouTube is that there's like a 3.4x discrepancy versus platform to CRM. And it took them like 5 weeks to determine that. So, meaning like during a testing period of 3 weeks, it took another 2 weeks to get the real clarity in platform. And so, if you're looking at, yeah, if you're looking at YouTube on a day to day basis, you might think that you suck, but a tool like yours can help feed data back in so that it gets that information faster.
Yeah, it's
So
super important.
I did want to point out like how important that is for the tracking side of it because like if you're looking at YouTube and you think, oh man, this campaign is burned or whatever, like it's no good, you might actually have a bunch of sales. We've seen, our discrepancies usually close versus like our internal tool that we use versus platform usually closes around 48 hours. So it's like 2 days delay and affiliates need to make decisions on a day-to-day basis. So,
Exactly.
yeah, there's not a lot of people who are just like, yeah, I'm just going to increase the budget and wait 2 days to see what happens,
Yeah,
And
because in
again,
2 days
like,
you can spend a lot.
yeah, exactly, exactly. Well, the other thing that I'll mention is, I pointed out that YouTube's more expensive is that they actually have a 30-day look back window in terms of averaging out your budget versus Meta, which has a 7-day look back window. So when you look in Meta and they say like, oh, you won't spend more than this on a given day, but like this is your max budget for like a given week or whatever. You say to spend oh, I'm going to spend $100 a day in a week. It's going to say, oh, yeah, well, we won't spend more than 125 on a given day, and we won't spend more than 700 in the week. Well, on YouTube, because it's Google, like that's 30 days. So your campaign might underspend for like, let's say 2 weeks straight. You've got that same $100 just using simple numbers. Actually, let's use 1,000 just to make it a little more scary, right? It's like, no, seriously, like you've got $1,000 budget and it spends like $200 a day for 2 weeks, right? And then all of a sudden on day 15, you've got what's that? $800 times 14 days. You're
Wow,
looking at around $10,000 that it could spend. And by its look back window, it's still like on budget.
exactly.
And so it really Google can if you yeah, that's another thing is like keep track of how your budget is trending towards your actual spend because if there's a big delta there, you could wake up and see that Google spent a lot of your money and if your tracking's not dialed, you might think that it's done unprofitably. If your tracking's dialed, you'll know that it was done profitably, but regardless, like you need to know when Google has those spend spikes, where are you
Yeah,
at in terms of your economics?
yeah, it's better to have real time data and understand exactly what's happening in real time. I think it's the best thing to do.
100%, 100%, as fast as possible.
You mentioned Meta about earlier, and
Mhm.
how is Meta traffic compared to YouTube in terms of, I don't know, quality for these offers?
When you say quality, you mean, like, just people's
Quality of
willingness to
traffic. It's
buy
like it gets
or
more conversion, not so many. It's the quality of traffic, meaning
Got
that
it, got
it,
it.
it
Yeah,
gets you more conversion leads, whatever you are after.
yeah. Okay, yeah, thanks for clarifying. Well, look, buyers exist on both platforms. I'm not gonna say that one's any better than the other because I've had my biggest successes on YouTube.
Okay.
One thing that we've noticed is that, like, YouTube can even have it depends on the offer. It's not every single time, but in general, like, I would say YouTube actually has higher AOVs, so the people who are on YouTube typically spend more money. Conversion rates can be a little bit lower, but it's not across the board. Like, actually, I think was just checking some stuff the other day comparing Meta versus YouTube, and for like, I was looking at, let's say, like, 5 of our biggest offers, I think from what I remember, two of them had better conversion rates on YouTube, and two of them had better conversion rates on Meta, and two of them had better AOVs on Meta, and two of them had better AOVs on YouTube. So it's a little bit of a mixed bag. But I mean, I wouldn't say that either one has better traffic. I think it's maybe going to depend on the platform, the seasonality, and like, just who you're going after. But, those buyers are on both platforms for sure. Depend on the product, depend on the like, yeah, anyway.
So they
Yeah,
depend on the
I'm trying to think of how to come up with like a specific example because like maybe comparing e-commerce to direct response, like there might be a difference, but with direct response offers, the buyers are on both platforms. That's the main thesis.
Okay, so they can both be successful if they are done right, I would say, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the major difference I would say is like algorithm sophistication on Meta, but it's not traffic quality, right? It's that like think about Meta and again, I talked earlier about the context of platform, right? Is like you're there on Meta, like scrolling Facebook or Instagram, whatever it is, you're there
Yeah,
scrolling, right?
yeah.
You just want to be entertained. You're kind of like mindless almost. It doesn't have as much intent. And so, like, Facebook's able to engineer more signals in their algorithm through all of that behavior. Oh, I slowed my scroll. I stopped my scroll. I clicked a like. I clicked in to read the comments. All of those are signals to Meta about like what kind of content to show you, what kind of ads to show you, period, right? But like
Yes.
if we're talking about in-stream YouTube ads, it's like I clicked on a video and now they're showing me an ad before I can watch my video. And there's nothing that I can do to interact with that. I can't like it because all of the information on the page is about the video I'm about to watch, right? I can
Yes.
pause it and after 5 seconds I can skip it and that's it, right? Or I
Yeah.
can click to go to the landing page. So it's just a whole different context. And that's why I say like algorithm sophistication is better on Facebook. And so maybe that's good for like retargeting or if you have like a big diverse group of ads, but it's not about traffic quality.
So it's more about media buying tactics, maybe, which are different.
I mean, if you get down into it, like I'm sure there's some way to take advantage of that stuff, but I mean it's still a little bit black box. Like all Meta really does, you mean because they're trying to limit the actions that you take in the ad account. What they're pushing us to do is do a greater variety, a more diverse variety of creative. And that's what I mean about like if you have a big enough variety of creative that the algorithm sees that you maybe interacted with something and it shows you another ad from that brand or it shows you a similar ad or your ad gets shown to somebody because they were watching some influencer video about a doctor talking about heart problems and now all of a sudden they're showing you the blood pressure supplement. And so like there you didn't click on anything, but you slowed your scroll, you watched a little bit, but like on YouTube, you had to click in and you had to watch a video. There's like much higher
Yeah.
intent. And so it's just different. I don't know. I don't think I'm not
So
sure like
it's true.
because I'm not a media buyer, I guess I can't say like what tactical things you could actually pull from it. There might be some like account level tactical things you could do to take advantage of that, but yeah, I'm not sure.
You were mentioning creatives, like
Mhm.
the creatives types are different between the two platforms. So, how many creative variations do you test usually, or should be tested simultaneously per offer?
Yeah, I mean, the way that I think about it is like concepts. You want to kind of go out with like three real, like main big concepts. So, of course, it always starts with research and then, lean into whatever those three like most recurring concepts are as like a pain for that audience or like a problem that they want to resolve. And that's how I think about it. And then I would go with like either 5 or 10 variations of each ad to roll out. And it depends how you think about stuff. If you want to do 5 different hooks and then you want to do 3 different CTAs or whatever, like that's 15 different ads right there. Yeah. And so the way I think about ads is kind of like modular components. Like you need to be able to write copy where like your hooks, you can have 5 hooks and all of those 5 hooks are going to transition into the body seamlessly. It's not broken, it's not distorted. And so like hook is one modular component, body is one modular component. You might have, you know, variations of that body copy as well that are modular components talking about different mechanisms. And then your CTAs or, your closes, if you want to use that language, are also modular components at a really high level, right? You could have more than that, but those are the three main pieces. And so I want to be able to say, like, all right, I'm writing 5 hooks. I'm writing 2 different mechanisms for body copy. And then I've got 2 different CTAs. That's 20 different ads because I'm going to
Wow.
pair all 5 with both of the bodies with both of the closes. And then I just throw those into a campaign and see what works.
Yeah, so that's like multivariate.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. That's how
Where
I think that's how you have to approach it these days.
Okay, we have a tool that's like a side note. We have a tool in our tracker. It's doing multivariate testing for landing pages,
Okay.
meaning that you have one landing page and we just rotate these hooks and
Rotate headlines or
yeah,
rotate, yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
And so we track behind which landing page is the winner, which combination actually is the winner. And I see now it's the same thing for ads actually, but we do that for the landing pages. Yeah. Okay. I just
Yeah,
I
yeah, it
realize it's
totally is. And
multivariate testing for ads like that.
are you guys able to pair that with like ad variant? So, if I had, let's say, those 2 different mechanisms that like mechanism 1 would go to your variants that align with that mechanism to maintain congruency, and then mechanism 2 like would go to a different set of headlines,
Yeah, of
right?
course, because the
Yeah.
the the ad that triggered the visitor, we track
Yep.
that, and
Yep.
then we know which variation that visitor went to. So yeah, they are
Perfect.
paired.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, but
yeah.
it's
Excellent.
interesting to
Excellent.
find.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the name of the game.
So going to landing pages, you guys use a bridge landing page or do you direct the visitor directly to the offer?
I don't typically run bridge pages. Like I always try to get people to send straight to VSL. Like we run straight to VSL.
Okay, makes
And
sense.
this might go a little bit into compliance, but like, look, like bots can scrape all this stuff now. So if you think if you're using a bridge page because like it's, for your hop link or your, whatever, your affiliate link, like that's fine for the redirect. Like I get it. But if you're using it, think that like you're hiding the VSL behind a page for compliance or something like that. Like, no, like not at all. They can definitely
No, it
click
will not
through.
pass.
No, 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 no. And so like why use it at that point? And I think now like most of the affiliate networks like have direct links, where the affiliate ID is like hard coded in. So, you don't have to go to a bridge page. Anyway, but yeah, we go straight to VSL. We go straight to VSL.
So from the ad to the VSL and then to converting and
Yep,
everything. Yeah.
exactly. Product reveal below the VSL, usually add to cart and then go to checkout flow
So
and then upsell
that's
flow.
the format.
Yeah.
Okay. And what ad length converts best for these direct response offers usually? Did you see,
I'd say most of our ad go ahead, sorry.
50-second bumper ads or I don't know, 60-second videos? What type of ads?
Yeah, 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 got it, got it. Yeah, the actual, like, duration in seconds or minutes. Yeah, look, like, a while ago, YouTube said that, we're gonna start penalizing ads that are longer than 3 minutes, and, like, we never saw that to be true. We talked to our reps, and they never saw anyone who was actually getting penalized, so I don't know what that was actually about. For a while, we were making sure we kept ads under 3 minutes. Like, I know that most of our ads are between 2 to 5 minutes,
Wow.
which is, yeah, like, pretty long.
Yeah, it's right.
Yeah, but again, like that educational aspect of it, you're giving them a story, you're talking about a discovery, I'd say around 3 minutes is a great place to shoot for.
Prepare them for the VSL that is coming.
Exactly, exactly, exactly. It's like if they're not gonna sit through a 5-minute video, why are you gonna expect them to sit through a 40-minute video?
I cannot do
Um,
that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Again, they wanna be entertained. It's to them, I guess it's like a movie. But yeah, as far as bridge pages, if you're gonna use them, just make sure you're piquing curiosity, you're leveraging congruence to the ad unit. You're not talking about like, "Oh, this tropical thing, that you're talking about in your ad," and then they go to the bridge page and it talks about like this coffee thing or whatever. Like you need to have that,
He
congruence
connects it to
there.
be the same thing actually.
Yeah, yeah,
To talk about
totally.
the
And
same
then
thing.
also, like on a further note, if your bridge page is talking about like whatever the specific kind of mechanism is of like, oh, this liver detox or something like that, like, but your ad is talking about weight loss, like that's still incongruent, right? And so you want to make sure you're using whatever language on the bridge page. But the other thing is like, don't change your ad to your bridge page. Like your ad is your first contact. So, if your bridge page, if you're losing people on your bridge page, what can you learn from your ad? That like if they're clicking the ad and you're losing them at the bridge page, adjust the bridge page. But
Exactly.
pique curiosity, just pique curiosity enough to get the click. Be persuasive without being scammy. I mean, those are my main points. Like that's it. But if you can, like push to like straight to the VSL from the ad.
Okay. And what about ad compliance? Can you tell us more what they should pay attention to? You mentioned about earlier that they are like strict. What should we pay
Yeah,
attention to?
yeah. So for YouTube ads, like last year was a really big year because I think around June there was a big compliance crackdown, and you know, Google introduced AI to their ad review process. And so it kind of overcorrected and it got really strict. It's not so bad now, but the main things are just really avoid second person language. Don't do you will, you're going to get, like you're going to lose 30 pounds. Like you can say, I lost 30 pounds. Like I always tell you, lean towards first person language, and also, you need to use
Oh,
a lens of like what's reasonable. The FDA has like rules about what's reasonable. Like you can't lose more than I think it's something like a pound a day or something like that. So if you're saying like I lost 50 pounds overnight, that kind of stuff is going to get you shut down. And so like, you just got to find unique and creative ways to talk about big results without using specific time domains or without making specific claims to results.
to be realistic.
Yeah, and even if you want to like go beyond being realistic, like don't go so exaggerated that it's literally unbelievable. And then if you're stretching the truth a little bit, like because you obviously want to get people's attention, like just find a way to say it that isn't saying it like you will lose 30 pounds in 5 days. Like, you just can't be that direct. So reasonable claims using first person stories. You can use AI to like fact check or not fact check, but like kind of gut check your claims. If you want to run your scripts through AI and ask like from an FDA compliance perspective or claims about, whatever health problem, like unbelievable or illegal or, whatever. But if you know how to navigate compliance, it's really not an issue.
And you guys use AI to do those checks or
Yeah, absolutely.
just
Yeah.
know them from experience?
Yeah, I mean, most of the time we know them from experience, but when we run into compliance problems, we have a compliance tool that like we've built with AI and like Google Console, Google Dev Console. So we've like built it ourselves to run scripts through AI and identify that stuff. But now, I mean, because we built this a while ago, now I'm sure our writers just use like Claude and ChatGPT 5 and all that because like they're just so good now.
Yeah, they are. Yeah,
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
but yeah, you need to pay attention and give a human touch anyway to the copywriting and everything because now
Yeah.
when I read something, my first thought is, this is AI or not? This is
Yeah.
something that guy really thought about it, or it's something that just pop out.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
totally. Yeah, don't expect it to do everything for you, but, like, if you've got a written script, you can have it check, like, "Hey, FDA rules about X, Y, and Z," especially weight loss, weight loss is a big one. Diabetes is a big one. You don't wanna say stuff you shouldn't be saying. Like, using it as your kind of, like, compliance review is a smart move.
and just one thing about these videos that are run like ads.
Mhm.
Can somebody like affiliate starting out to use UGC style content? Do you think
Yeah.
that works or not?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I mean, gosh, if I was starting to run YouTube ads and like I said, some of these affiliates who run on TikTok, like I would just see how the ads perform as YouTube shorts because now in the demand gen landscape of Google's ad campaigns, you can designate to shorts only and see how those ads run in shorts placements. Like Obviously, TikTok videos, like, they're not the same as YouTube, but, like, see how they go in YouTube Shorts. And, like, you obviously have a vast amount of experience if you're scaling on TikTok, or even if you're scaling on Meta with UGC, like, test them on Shorts, see how it goes. But yeah, like, we have some ads that, street interview ads that are running on YouTube, and some of those kind of UGC style, like, native content that you'll see on TikTok or in, like, Instagram Reels definitely can work as YouTube ads.
Okay, so they don't have to be like high production, I don't know,
No, they
something.
don't have to be. No, 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 honestly, like, the ads, I think, differentiating ads from VSL, like, I think VSLs need to be more polished, but yeah, ads can actually be kinda scrappy. I think ads probably do best when they are a little bit scrappy. Yeah, that's why UGC works. Yeah, 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 absolutely. Yeah, especially because, like I said, that thing about first person, UGC tends to be first person testimonial. And so, if you find, like, authentic talent that can, like, do the script, or a creator type person who can, deliver their own way, like, really well, those are the kinds of things that we see on TikTok and Reels already, and that's gonna work. So, it's a
They're
little bit of
like
a
more,
different audience.
yeah, they
Just last
bring
thing is, like,
credibility. Sorry.
there's a little delay. Go ahead.
Yeah. I was saying that this VGC style content, they bring like authenticity and credibility to the audience they have.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And anything that, like, even if it's a longer form piece of content that's UGC style, kind of like podcast or whatever, you can chop those up and into like shorter pieces, or even like fabricate them as like fake podcasts, right? And like that's kind of, I guess it's not technically UGC, but like, I don't know, it kind of falls in that bucket because, like,
Yeah, it's user generated, it's your
it's like
content.
content. Yeah, what do people call it now? CGC, creator generated content. It's not technically like user generated, but it's still like creator generated content. It's like kind of similar, right? So yeah, I mean, I think that kind of stuff all works. Like, definitely the first person testimonial stuff.
First person, that's something I learned now from you. I've never thought about, the ads should have the first person, I mean, to have the text in first person. Wow.
Yeah, it's natural to think that you want to speak to your audience, right? But, like, think about it. It's almost like a recommendation. I did this thing, I had this problem. And then the viewer's thinking, oh, I also have that problem. And then you're saying, and I was
Yeah,
able to overcome it. Like, I tried all these things that didn't work. And you're like, yeah, that sounds like me. You right? They self identify. And then it gets around compliance because you're not
instead
saying,
of
like,
going, you can be like that and you can
yeah,
win.
yeah. Are you having this problem? Did you try all of these things and they failed and it didn't work and you feel miserable because of it? You should do this because you're going to get results. It's like, no, just talk about yourself, and the person can self identify, and then they feel better about themselves.
That's a very, very interesting thing that I found out today.
Awesome.
Okay, Jared, let's wrap it up because it took longer than I expected. We
Okay.
have still a bunch of questions. Maybe we should do a new episode later on because I still have questions for you.
Awesome.
But tell me, before we close it up, your top advice for somebody starting now to promote affiliate offers, like offers from ClickBank because they your experience. What should they, I don't know, do, pay attention to, especially maybe if they want to start with YouTube, right?
Yeah, for sure. Well, my advice is a little bit more general in terms of, like, looking at getting into the space and not tactical about how to make sure you succeed. I think not betting your house on it. And what I mean by that is, like, not spending everything you have on it. Like, make sure that you're willing to look at the first period, even your first year, like, whatever, first few months at least, as like learning, and being willing to, like, pay to learn, right? It's like you're putting money in and you need to look at it as like you're just learning the skills. And you want to make sure that you're not going broke on it as if it's like, throwing all of your money into crypto or something like that. So, don't bet your house on it. Don't use your life savings. Like, make sure you're still, like, just kind of testing and looking at it from like a pay for education type thing. And that is really the way that I look at it. Like, there's a ton of free education out there. So make sure that, you're going to YouTube and you're joining communities, even like paying for paid communities to help accelerate your learning curve. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that I think of, like, that's going to help you succeed because you're going to be learning from people who have already done it. Like, just having that long enough time horizon to say, like, I'm committed to this and it's not a get rich quick scheme. That's it.
Exactly. To think mostly like your future business style. I would say to make a business at the end of it, not to just do something now. I can do something now and then I will just leave it. You learn, you do a business, and you have a lifestyle out of it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The quicker you learn that it's not about like how fast can I make $1 million, and it's about like, the long-term vision of like, okay, you can get to $1 million, but like, you're building a business and having a long-term time horizon helps a lot when, you approach things because you're not thinking like, oh, I didn't win today. And that you're just gonna get frustrated. You're gonna want to give up. Think about what you
Yeah,
learned today and how you can do better next time.
yeah. I love it. And yeah, it's a question that I ask all my guests. Some answer, most of them answer. So there is a problem you see in this performance marketing space that you think you'd like to be solved, or you think it will be solved, something that is bothering, or something that you think that could be done better in our space.
Yeah, I mean, so specifically to affiliates, the one thing that I see some people starting to do and it's working and it's helping is data visibility. So I think typically, like in the past, an affiliate didn't want to share their data. They didn't want to like share anything, and it's their competitive advantage. And I'm not saying you got to go tell other affiliates exactly what you're doing, but if you're talking to your vendor and sharing that data back to your vendor, like what is crushing on ads for you could inform their next winning lead, which means more retained visitors on their VSL, which means more converted visitors on their VSL, which means either a higher CPA for you or higher scale for you. So it's like work with your vendor, work in tandem with your vendor and open up that data stream back and forth because like that's what's worked best for us. I'm coming to you from the agency side where we work as partners with vendors. And like what makes those relationships flourish is the fact that we're like in there side by side with them as partners. So if you start sharing data, I think it's really going to help a lot on both sides, the affiliate side and the vendor side. And everybody wins when you do that.
That's very interesting too. I mean, it's a very interesting perspective. Mostly because when we started out with CPV Lab as a self-hosted tool, it was mostly because affiliates were like afraid of somebody stealing their winning campaigns. They
Yeah.
wanted the tool to be hosted on the server, nobody to touch the data, nobody has access. I'm the only owner. And now you say sharing the data with the vendor, creating partnerships is very beautiful. I
Yeah.
love that. I mean, I totally agree that in this space, we are in this together. And if we share and help each other, doesn't mean that I steal from you. I'm sharing information, and maybe you have other ideas. And yeah, we are in this
Yeah.
together.
What's the expression? Rising tide raise all boats, you
Yeah,
know? So exactly. It's like if we can work together and think about it from a collaborative, abundant perspective instead of like a closed off kind of scarcity mindset, like I think everybody wins.
yeah, I agree. Totally agree. Wow, this was very nice. Where can people get in touch with you if they want to, I don't know, find out more what you're doing, follow you?
Yeah, definitely. So I'm not really big on social media or anything. I think LinkedIn's probably where I'm at best. You can, just search for my name. That's where I'm most active. And then Jarrett, just my first name at triedandtruemedia.com. You can put that stuff in the show notes and people can reach out to me, anytime. Happy to
Okay,
help.
I hope you will not get many emails. I mean, that's spam emails. Good emails are good
Yeah.
emails.
Good emails are good emails. Spam emails tend to come with good emails too.
Okay. Okay,
All
thank
right.
you. Thank you so much for joining me today. It was very nice having you here.
Thanks, Julia. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, bye.
Take care. Bye bye.